Hi there, and welcome to another SiteMate training video. In this video I'll be explaining about the Settings tab of the backend administration. So left hand click on Settings, and we now have a whole lot of other settings come up. So to start with, we have the General. We have General, Email, Access, Debug, Attributes and Maintenance available in the Settings tab. Now your site name. This is the site name, and this will be shown throughout your whole website. For example, down the bottom here we have the site name. By changing this to New Website and click Save and refresh this page, as you can see the page name has changed. It'll also change at the top and for search engine optimization purposes. For the meantime, I'll just put this back to how it was. Now underneath that we have the tracking code. Now this tracking code will be maybe an HTML sort of code that will be inserted at the bottom of every single page automatically. This may be used for Google Analytics or other things like this. You probably won't need to worry about this at the moment. You can also upload a bookmark icon if you like. Now these bookmark icons are the ones that when you bookmark your page it shows in your browser. And also it's the little image that you can see next to the top URL. If you look to the left hand side you may see little icons. You can upload your own one. You have to make sure that it's 16 times 16 pixels, and it's either it should be a GIF or a PNG with the .ico file extension. So save it with the .ico file extension before you start doing this. On the right hand side of that we have editing preferences. Now these here just show you a few different things that you can do when you're hovering over the editing bar. For example, if I enable this, click Save, go back to Edit mode, refresh. By hovering over the Edit bar now, it should show the path to the current page. If we go to another page, as you can see here, by hovering over it tells us the path now, which it didn't before. So if I remove this, because I don't want that setting on, and I go back to Home, hovering over Edit mode bar, it doesn't do that anymore. Enable pretty URLs. Now this here is used for search engine optimization purposes, and by enabling pretty URLs it means that they don't include the index.php in the file structure. So if you're looking up at the top of your search engine, you'll notice that the URLs tend to look a lot cleaner and nicer and just friendlier. Now when you do this you have to save it, and there's a required code that needs to be enabled. We'll probably do this when we set up your SiteMate system, so you don't need to worry about this, but you'll have to copy this and create a new file called .htaccess and copy it in, and then that will work fine. Underneath that we have Rich Text Editor. Now this is all the information relating to when you're editing your WYSIWYG editor, which stands for what you see is what you get. If you go to Add to Main and Add Content, you can see here that we have a what you see is what you get editor. At the moment, the default toolbar set is simple, and the editor dimensions is 580 times 380. You can change this to be advanced if you like by clicking Save. Now if I cancel this and go to add another one, Content, you can see that we have a whole lot of extra settings and things that we can do now. So it's probably best to keep it on advanced, but if you want to keep it simple then just change it back to simple. You can also change the width of the editor dimensions. If you find it's a bit too small, you can change it by just changing these to whatever your desired settings are. Remember that the minimum width you can have is 580 pixels. Click Save, and then go back into Content. As you can see now, we have a lot bigger size that we can edit. If you want, you could even go a step further and make it 1200. Click Save. And we have a lot bigger one now, which probably is a lot easier. So that's what you can do in the general part of your settings. On the right hand side of that we have the email, which is site-wide mail settings. Whether you want it to be just a PHP mail function or an SMTP server you can choose. Now this you won't have to touch, it's a bit technical for probably what you need to do. The right hand side of that we have access. Now this is quite an important place, because if you want, make it you're updating your website and you don't want anyone to see it except the administrator users. I'll show you how it works. Just left hand click on the private and it means that only the administrative group can see it. Update the site permissions, and now at the moment you can see that I can still go along and I can still visit the website. But if I was to sign out, it says I have to sign in because I have to be an admin to see it. As soon as I sign back in, I can see the page again. But if I go back to public, it should be fine. We'll just turn this off for the meantime as well. Okay. Underneath that, we have maintenance mode. Maintenance mode makes the front end of the website inaccessible while leaving the dashboard available to admin users. So if you are logged in, if you choose this enabled, it means only your dashboard will be enabled. You'll only be able to go into your dashboard and change things here and there. The front end of the website won't be able to be accessed because the website's in maintenance. Making you changing settings in the back end, that sort of thing. So I'll disable that. Underneath that, we have IP address blacklist, which is if you want to blacklist and allow some IPs not be able to see your website and ban them from your website and that sort of thing. It's probably a bit technical for what you wanted to get into at the moment, so we'll leave it at that at the meantime. The right hand side of that, we have debug. Now the debug level, this is PHP errors will be displayed to all visitors to the website. So you can choose whether you want to be production or development. The best way to do is to put it in production if your website is live, because that means that the errors will not be shown. But if it's in development, errors will be shown. So it's probably just best to keep it production. On the right hand side of that, we have logging, which just keeps sort of like tracking and logs of different things, including emails sent and application exceptions and this sort of thing. These things here you probably won't need to change. The default settings will be absolutely fine. Only if you really want to change it you can. Underneath that we have the caching. Now cache, by enabling cache it means that your website will be faster. So it's best to keep it enabled. Cache pretty much means that it'll save all the temporary files so it doesn't need to be continually updated and loaded and downloaded. Underneath that we have clear cache. Make it there's some things that are out of date or behaving unexpectedly. Then all you have to do is clear cache and it should fix that. It tells us now that the cache files are removed. On the right hand side of that we have export database schema. So this stuff here is pretty much if you want to export the database tables for a backup or something like that, or if you want to refresh them. You can refresh different things here and there. On the right hand side of that we have the attributes, which I've talked about in another SiteMate training video, and I won't go into more detail about that here. And on the right hand side we have the maintenance. Now this maintenance section here tells us the different scheduled jobs that we have and the installed jobs. We can index the site to allow the search engine to work quickly and accurately. We can generate the sitemap file, which is used for search engines to crawl your site. And underneath that we have process the email post, which will poll an email account and grab private messages that are sent here. Now all you have to do is click run checked and it should run all these jobs with a little tick next to them. Now they have been run. So it's probably good to do this every now and then on your website. So there's quite a lot to take in the settings tab, but hopefully this has given you a lot more information and sort of broken down in different areas so you have more of an understanding of what they do. Thanks for watching this SiteMate training video.